Why do some men sit staring at their phones in silence, waiting for a message that never comes, while others watch women initiate contact, eager, restless, unable to stop themselves? Why does she ignore some men for hours or days, but for another, she breaks her own rules, picking up her phone first thing in the morning to send him a line? The truth is not romance. It is not chance. It is psychology. And once you understand the hidden tricks that make her text you first, you will realize that attraction is not about luck. It is about power and the one who holds it. Modern dating is not a dance of equals. It is not a fairy tale of mutual effort. It is a battlefield, one where attention is the currency and control is the weapon. Most men lose this battle before it even begins. They wait, they hope, they over-invest, and in doing so, they teach her she has no need to chase. But the man who understands the secret triggers, the man who flips the frame, forces her hand. He makes her text first, not because she is kind, not because she is polite, but because she is compelled, caught in a spiral of tension that only he can resolve. The first truth you must swallow is this: women are not passive. They test, they measure, they manipulate. When she delays her reply, when she leaves you on read, when she posts a photo designed to provoke a reaction, she is setting the frame. She is demanding that you chase. If you comply, if you fall into the trap, you are hers to control. But if you reverse the polarity, if you withhold, if you create tension, if you turn absence into a weapon, she becomes the one who breaks. She becomes the one who reaches out. Withholding validation is the oldest trick. Men flood women with compliments, constant approval, endless reassurance. They think praise buys attention, but praise freely given loses its value. When she posts a picture and you say nothing, or when you acknowledge it with indifference instead of desperation, you create a void. That void gnaws at her. She expects a reaction and does not get it. The brain hates unfulfilled expectation. The discomfort festers. And so she texts first, reaching out to restore the balance, desperate to reclaim the validation you denied. Strategic absence is a second weapon. Presence creates comfort, but absence creates hunger. Most men suffocate women with constant availability, answering immediately, always ready, always eager. But scarcity is value. When you vanish after a high point, when you step away after sparking emotion, you leave her hanging. The silence is louder than words. It forces her to question. It forces her to wonder. And curiosity is unbearable. She reaches for her phone, not because she decided to, but because the discomfort of not knowing overwhelms her. She must close the gap. Mystery is a third weapon. Most conversations die because men drain them of all tension. They over-explain. They overshare. They strip away the unknown. But when you leave things unsaid, when you drop half a story and disappear, when you hint at experiences without providing closure, you turn her mind into a looping reel. She imagines, she speculates. She creates answers in the silence, and imagination is more powerful than information. It keeps her restless. It keeps her hooked. Eventually, she texts first, not out of politeness, but because her curiosity has transformed into compulsion. Contrast makes you unforgettable. Humans don't remember neutrality. They remember spikes, highs and lows. Most men flatten themselves into endless politeness, always agreeable, always predictable. But when you create emotional contrast, when you tease, when you challenge, when you show warmth, and in cool detachment you destabilize her. The ground beneath her feet becomes uncertain. And in that uncertainty, she craves stability. The fastest way to stabilize is to reach out. She texts to test the waters, to know where she stands, to anchor herself against the storm you created. Preselection is another. Women are wired to desire what other women desire. A man desired by none is invisible. A man desired by others is valuable. You don't need to brag. You don't need to flaunt. Subtle signals are enough. Your time is claimed, your presence appreciated, your energy scarce. When she senses that others want you, she feels pressure. Pressure to act, to secure, to claim. And the easiest action is the simplest. She texts first, because the idea of waiting becomes too risky. Psychological dissonance is a trap that always works. When her actions don't align with her expectations, the mind cannot rest. If you show interest but never chase, she feels the contradiction. If you reward her but then withdraw, she feels unbalanced. Dissonance demands resolution. And how does she resolve it? By initiating, by contacting you, by attempting to close the gap between the way she thought you should behave and the way you actually did. She texts first because her mind will not let her remain still. Timing the peak is the sharpest edge. Most men drain the moment, talking until interest collapses, stretching interaction until it dies. But when you end at the high point, when you cut it short at the climax, you leave her addicted. Her mind replays it. She feels the unfinished loop gnaw at her. She craves resolution, and that craving becomes unbearable silence until she breaks. Until she texts first. All of these secrets work because they exploit primal triggers. Scarcity creates value. Mystery creates obsession. Contrast creates memory. Preselection creates urgency. Dissonance creates compulsion. Peaks create addiction. This is not manipulation invented yesterday. These are survival instincts, ancient as time. And here is the darkest truth. She already uses them on you. She withholds replies to create tension. She seeds jealousy with photos. She hints at plans without telling you the details. She goes warm, then cold, leaving you unsteady. She is not random. She is strategic, even if subconsciously. She sets the frame. She waits to see if you break. And most men do. If you want her to text first, you must refuse the role of prey. You must be the question she cannot answer, the absence she cannot ignore, the mystery she cannot solve, the center she cannot destabilize. You must create a frame where silence is not weakness, but dominance. Where distance is not rejection, but magnetism. Where the tension grows until she must act. She must break. She must chase. This is the brutal reality of attraction. Women do not text first out of kindness. They text first out of compulsion, out of hunger, out of fear that silence means loss. Your task is not to beg for attention. Your task is to create the conditions where her only escape from the tension is to chase you. Picture the scenario. You end a conversation with her laughing, high energy, the moment sharp and addictive. Most men would keep going, trying to squeeze out more. You don't. You vanish. Hours pass. She replays the moment. She remembers your smile, the tease, the spike. It loops in her head with no closure. She feels the silence like a pressure, and eventually she caves. The notification you've been waiting for flashes on your phone, not because you chased, but because you didn't. Another example. She posts a story designed to provoke a reaction. Most men swarm, fire emojis, compliments, desperate replies. You watch, but you don't respond. Not a word. She notices the silence. It unsettles her. You were supposed to validate. You didn't. Hours later, she's in your messages. Hey, what are you up to? She initiated because you starved her of the reaction she was sure she would get. Think about how powerful this is. Women live in attention. They are fed by it daily. But when you remove it, you create scarcity. And scarcity is the most valuable currency in desire. You become the one man she cannot predict, the one man she cannot categorize. And unpredictability is addictive. So the next time you find yourself staring at a silent phone, ask yourself, what frame did you set? Did you give too much validation? Did you erase the space where attraction grows? Did you drain the mystery by oversharing? Or did you plant the seed withhold the resolution, and let her mind spiral into action? Because the brutal truth is this: women don't text first out of courtesy. They text first out of compulsion, out of hunger, out of fear that silence means loss. Your job is not to beg for her attention. Your job is to create the conditions where her only escape from tension is to chase you. And once you learn to do that, you'll never wonder why she doesn't text first again. You'll wonder how to slow her down. Because the spiral of tension you create, once it starts, is almost impossible for her to resist. And that is the difference between the man who waits and the man who is chased.